Okay, today we're talking about present progressive. Present progressive exists in English. It's what you're doing right now. So far in Spanish too, you've learned the present tense. So for example, hablo means I speak. You could be speaking in general terms, not necessarily for right at this moment, but just in general. I speak Spanish, for example. And you've learned the preterite, which is more of an event. So hablé means I spoke, as in I spoke to my friend yesterday. So this is a new tense, and it's present progressive, and it means what you're doing right now as we speak. So estoy hablando means I am speaking right now. And you already know the forms of estar in the present tense. Estar means to be, so I am is estoy. And hablando is called the gerund form, and it's the equivalent of ing in English, so speaking, hablando. To form the present progressive, we just kind of looked at an example, but we conjugate the verb estar in the present tense. My forms, just to review, estoy, estás, está, estamos, and están. So if you don't have those memorized, re-memorize them. So take off the AR, ER, IR ending of the action verb in your sentence, the main verb, and you either add ando or yendo. Hablar goes to hablando, as we talked about. Vivir is an example of an ER, IR verb, and it goes to viviendo. So I am speaking again, estoy hablando. You are eating, estás comiendo, and we are learning, estamos aprendiendo. Notice that you have two verbs in the sentence. One of them is your form of estar, and that's the verb that shows who's doing something in the sentence. So estoy means I am the subject in the sentence. Estás means you are the subject, and so on. And the gerund is just telling what it is that's happening. So notice hablando, comiendo, aprendiendo are just sort of generic forms. They don't tell who. You need the form of estar to tell you who. So estoy hablando means I am speaking. Estás hablando would be you are speaking. So you need both components to make this work. You need the form of estar conjugated to demonstrate who the subject of the sentence is, and you need the gerund to tell what the action is that's happening right now. There are some irregulars, but you're really not going to run into a lot of irregulars in the gerund. They're pretty predictable. If you take off your AR and add ando, that pretty much always works. If you, though, have an ER or IR verb and it ends in a vowel, instead of saying yendo with an I, you're going to say yendo with a Y. So, for example, the verb leyendo, L-E-Y-E-N-D-O, instead of being L-E-I-E-N-D-O. So be careful with I's going to Y's. The gerund form of the verb ir is just yendo. So it's not even exactly irregular. It's just the I changing to a Y, but the sound is the same. Yendo. So if you're asked the question, ¿Qué estás haciendo? I'm asking that in the to form, and we can tell because estar is in the to form, estás. And I could respond, estoy trabajando, which means I'm working. ¿Qué están haciendo ustedes is what are you all doing? And we can tell that because están is in the ustedes form, and I additionally use the pronoun ustedes in my sentence. And we can answer, estamos escribiendo poemas. Notice that the verb hacer is used in the question, but you don't need hacer in the answer because hacer just means to do. So if I ask what you're doing, you don't need to say, for example, I'm doing work. You could just say I'm working. So you don't need to use the verb hacer in your answer. So practice these. I am swimming, you are reading, she is eating, we are going, they are dancing. Write them down in your note packet or wherever and try it out and see if you can do it. So remember, first you need a form of estar to match the subject, and I gave you 5 different ones. So you're going to have 5 different forms of estar for each sentence. And then figure out what the verb is in Spanish for swim, read, eat, go, and dance. And then put that into the gerund form. So try that to test yourself. Hopefully you really did attempt all of those, and now you can check and see how you did. I am swimming, estoy nadando. I'm using estoy because the yo form of estar is estoy. And then the verb to swim is nadar. If I put that in the gerund, I get nadando. You are reading, estás leyendo. Remember that with ER or IR verbs, if the part before the ending is a vowel, you have to change the I to a Y. So leyendo. She is eating, está comiendo. Totally regular, follows the pattern. We are going, estamos yendo. Remember, ir goes to yendo. And they are dancing, están bailando. So hopefully you're seeing the pattern. All of the gerunds are always going to end in an O, either ando or yendo. It doesn't matter who the subject is. So it's one general form that you use for everybody. The thing that changes that tells who is doing the action in the sentence is the form of estar. So memorize all your forms of estar. The other thing you have to remember, AR verbs go to ando, ER-IR verbs go to yendo. So keep practicing this, make sure you understand how to do it, and come to class knowing how to do this.